Alex has a weak-ass clap.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Words I Heard show. With us as always is Alex, Mike. We're back again. We're going to do another random topic.
That's right.
You know the drill.
Yeah, let's pick up the randomizer. Hopefully you guys know it at this point.
Let's spin that wheel.
Yeah.
Did you just say random randomizer?
Randomizer. We're going to randomize this.
Yeah. No, just let us know in the comments if you have any topics that you want to hear. We'll put them in the randomizer. If it's drawn, give us a request along with the topic, and we will
see what we can do.
We'll do it for you. Don't worry.
So what do we got
that.
today?
Well, today we're going to talk about flea markets, Greg. This is definitely your wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah. This is my topic.
Yeah, Greg is like...
Oh, it's my topic. My request is I get to slap Alex.
Greg is... Greg is like that shitty auction hunter show.
No, I like to think of myself more like American Pickers.
Yeah, the difference is that he doesn't sell it for the dollar value. Is he'll find something at a flea market, he'll buy it, and he'll just keep it.
I'm a combination of American Pickers and hoarders.
Buried alive.
Buried alive, yeah.
That's right.
I'm not that bad, but I'd like nothing more than to go to a flea market or, you know, a good big yard sale. I like buying used stuff because...
I got a lot of that.
Yeah, well, I mean...
I have a whole basement full.
Everything I owned is used.
Sometimes you can find something that you wouldn't know... You know, you wouldn't know you wanted it necessarily, or even something you knew you always wanted, but you missed out on it at one point when it was available, and then you can find it at the flea market.
The first time that I went to a flea market with you, we went to that massive one.
The Sussex flea market.
Yeah, in New Brunswick here, and it was huge. And I was making fun of you the whole time, and I remember leaving, and I don't think you bought anything.
Yeah.
I bought a banjo.
And you walked out with a banjo. Yeah. I did buy a few things. I just didn't buy anything big.
I don't even play the banjo. I just wanted one real bad because I wanted to. Like, I do want to learn, but I mean, like, it was just I don't know. I saw it there and I was just like, oh, I want that banjo.
See, so I wasn't so crazy after all, was I?
Yeah, no, you're crazy. No, because you go and look at old toys and shit.
It's been discussed many times on the show. I collect toys. I collect comic books.
Dolls.
So I like to find stuff like that there. But it's not just that. Like, if I go and I see, like, a really cool piece of furniture that I know is going to look awesome in our house, I'm like, oh, well, that's going to look cool. My wife could, you know, strip that down and paint it, and it'll look even better. And look, I can get it for $10 as opposed to having to go to the IKEA and spending $60 for something similar.
I hate going to the IKEA.
Yeah, IKEA.
I don't know. I hate used furniture.
See, I've gone to...
I prefer not to sit on used furniture at all, anyway.
Yeah, you're sitting on a used couch right now.
I've gone to the same flea market, and it used to be the same weekend as the balloon festival that they have.
Yeah, it's slightly before it now.
No, slightly before. But basically, I was just looking through random things. I normally try to look for Super Nintendo games, right? You know, stuff that just a layman might not.
I guess
know
there's a lot of things
right?
that don't retail anymore.
That's my point. That's
I mean, like flea markets for me is video game hunting, like searching for games that that just Joe Blow has. Oh well, I have a few of these games. Final Fantasy 3, which is like a $60 game, I once saw for $10. I saw it, I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. Another guy sniped it just before.
Because some old lady's just like, oh, my grandkids left this in my attic. I don't know how much it's worth.
Exactly. Right?
That's actually what happened with the banjo. Is Buddy gave it to his dad and said, here, just go sell this when you go to the flea market.
That's exactly
and he goes, I don't know how much it's worth. He didn't really give me any advice on it, so I don't know. I got it for like $75 or something.
There you go. So I mean, I was just looking through stuff. My dad's like, "Hey, look at this." He shows me this fly fishing book. I'm like, "Oh, good, cool. I fly fish, right?" He's like, "No, look inside of it." So one of the pages I see is like folded. So I look at it, big 4-leaf clover, like that big, like a solid, like 4 massive petals. I'm like, "Holy shit!" So I buy the book for like the $3 that it was.
I like how you had to specify that a 4-leaf clover had 4 clovers.
4 massive leaves.
It was a 4-leaf clover that had three leaves on it.
And there was all 3.
Yeah, they're all 3.
So I got it home, and there was a second one in the back that I didn't notice. So I got like 2 massive 4-leaf clovers.
So you got 8 8 leaves altogether.
8 leaves altogether.
Yeah, you got 2 pieces of lawn trash in your book. Congratulations.
Yeah, paid $3. No, the sad part is that's the whole reason why he spent the $3 on the book. He didn't care about the book. Yeah, he wanted the clothes.
I never read a page of the book.
My wife collects coins because she's real cool like that. So I mean, like we go and
we got her some when we went.
Yeah, like there's no rhyme or reason she's not looking for like a rare one or the one that's worth a lot or something. So we always just go to those bins where it's just like, oh, you can pull 8-10 coins out for $1. And I'm like, okay. And then I pull all these coins out and I bring them back. And she's like, this is a bridge token for like the Halifax Dartmouth bridge. And it's like, oh, well, fuck. That's what you get for $1.
Now you have one.
You have one.
I don't know. I guess the biggest question is, what's the biggest find that you would have found at a flea market? What's the biggest?
I've never really been lucky enough to find anything.
You don't get the big score?
I don't think
you
so.
watch all these shows like I'll bring up those auction shows again where you talk about
Storage
Wars, and they're just like, I opened up the storage locker and I found something that's vaguely worth $1,000. I made $1,000. It's like, oh, probably not, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that show so much because a lot of it is staged. A
lot of it's staged, but the funny part is, like, I like the show just because I like to see the cool stuff that you can find in those storage lockers. But the problem is, you realize that's probably like the 100th storage locker that they looked at all week, and that's the first one that they found anything that was worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The show tried to make it look like they make all this money off this,
but really they're spending a shit ton of money on stuff.
The only one that's got the money is that old guy Barry, and that's not because he's got money from.
He was a producer for the Backstreet Boys.
That's the thing. He was a music producer.
He's a music producer, and he has worked with producing like the Backstreet Boys and other big like '90s pop bands.
That's why I don't know if you've ever noticed, but he's the one that he goes on that show. I don't think he's ever made money off a locker.
No, well,
and he just throws money at it because he sees something.
Wait, the old guy with like the cars and shit?
Yeah, he's a collector.
That guy. Okay, yeah. That's still kind of funny.
And that's why he's my favorite on there because he doesn't give a shit.
I hate listening to them where they're like, fuck, there's nothing in here. Oh, fuck you, I didn't get anything. And it's like, well, what? You're literally buying up people's like used, forgotten lives. Like, just stop.
And then tossing the rest.
Then that again, that's why I like Barry, because even if Barry doesn't have anything cool in there, he always has some positive spin on it. Like there was one episode that was like complete trash in there, and he's just like, well, I guess I can take this home and do something with it.
Oh, no, at least I got this headboard.
Yep. This wasn't a complete waste. Like,
I guess my biggest find though at a flea market was probably
dead body.
Just covered up in just random shit. Yeah, it was great. No, it was Final Fantasy 3. There's 2 situations where it's come up. Final Fantasy 3 for $10.
All right, Final Fantasy 3 situation 1.
So in that was the guy that like walked up and sniped him before I got a chance to grab it.
Okay. Failure.
You snooze, you lose. That's your
failure.
fault.
And another one that was labeled for $15, which I'm like, still, it's like a $80 game plus now. And I'm like, yeah, so this is 15. He's like, oh no, sorry, that's 51. I'm like, what? But it clearly said 15.
It's upside down.
It's like, yeah, no, that's misprinted. I'm like, well, fuck you then.
Well, even if it was upside down, that'd be like 21, right?
Yeah.
It's upside down and backwards.
Yeah. It's just dumb, right?
See, like that's one of the biggest problems with the flea market now. When I first started going a few years back with my parents,
people don't know the value of things back then.
People didn't know the value of things. You could find stuff like that. Now, there are guys that set up entire booths selling these old games, and they know damn well exactly what it's worth. And they ask for every penny.
Well, 2 things for that is that A lot of them go by eBay prices, which is dumb because eBay is inflated and you can't really trust.
You can ask for anything on eBay. That doesn't mean somebody's going to pay that for
exactly.
it.
But still, they put them up for eBay prices, which is garbage. And the second thing is that because they're part of the flea market, they get an hour before everything opens to look through and pick through what.
It's not just an hour; they have an entire evening. I think, like a day or two before.
Makes sense.
That they can go and walk around and shop with each other. So.
Which is fine.
They buy things from each other and then resell them at inflated price.
Some of them do, yes.
Because I mean, like, if someone's just there, like Joe Blow, that's just trying to literally just clean out his garage and say, I had too much shit.
Yep.
But then, like, this game collector walks over and says, I'll give you $5 for those Nintendo games. And he's like, yeah, sure, sounds good.
He's like, I just want it fucking gone.
Basically, yeah. But I mean, realistically, he's going to resell it for, 10 times the price,
Yeah, and that's happened a few times. I've actually heard people
every time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've actually heard people walking along. You can hear them talking about it and admitting it. Like some guy talking to another guy at his booth, talking about how, oh yeah, I just found this at so and so's booth. I paid like $10 for it, and now I'm selling it for like 40.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, at that point they're nickel and diming. You know, they're not really getting that far ahead unless they're doing that all day and getting stuff all day. So I mean,
there's people who are like pros at it. They're like, and I always find that like the people who are like, I'm a professional flea market salesperson, they're always really greasy.
Yeah.
They're always just like sketchy, greasy people who are just like, they will step over their own mother for $1. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's kind of how
that
it
away
ends
from
up working out. I'm enjoying this thing so much. This is one of those spinners.
Well, what's like, I guess sort of, what's the worst experience that you've ever had at a flea market?
Trying to buy a toy from a little old lady that thought she knew what it was worth and would not dicker in the price and was asking like way more than what the toy was worth.
Dicker.
Yeah, I call it dickering. My wife makes fun of me for calling it dickering.
That's a middle of nowhere New Brunswick term.
Yeah,
I've ever heard
it's
one.
an actual term, but it might not be well used with you city folk.
Well, what we one of the things like my wife and I were going to the Dominican soon, right? And we got a pamphlet that told us like it's giving you tips and advice about the Dominican itself and stuff. And it says right in the travel guide to negotiate with beach vendors.
Yeah.
And it says they start at 50% of their asking price and work up from there. They were like, but don't haggle with them for fun. This is how they make their living.
Yeah.
So they're basically like, yeah, haggle with them because it's probably not worth it, but don't be a dick.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? My problem is that when I go up the street to a flea market, like in town here, and it's just like, you know, some well-off white guy who's just like clearing out his garage, and he's just like, and he won't budge on some stupid fucking price.
Oh, I've walked away from stuff before because people wouldn't budge off a price.
Yeah, I like going for like old instruments and stuff. The problem is that people like what I read in the news recently is that in Canada we have the Dollarama, right?
Yeah.
The massive dollar store, but their revenue, their sales in the past year have gone up 17%. So I guess they're finding people more and more are willing to go to discounters or like cheaper places to buy things. Like people are getting more and more okay with frugality and stuff, where it used to be a little taboo.
Like you walk into a dollar store and you feel dirty because you're like,
not anymore.
Yeah, like, I don't feel like that.
My wife and I were in the dollar store the other day, and we were walking through. We were just picking something up. We were just picking up like a plastic container or something. We just needed something like that.
Yeah.
And we started walking down an aisle towards the cash, and I realized it was like a food aisle.
Yep.
And I was looking around, and I was just like, they have fucking bread here? I looked over, and I was like, and brownie mix?
Yeah.
And like...
And it's not like no name, it's like brand name, like Duncan Hines brownie mix.
Yeah. And I was looking, and like they pretty much everything but produce.
Yep.
Basically.
Was there. And meat, sorry. And I was like...
And dairy.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? Like... Where was this when I first moved out and I was this poor 17-year-old? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I could have gone to the dollar store and bought fucking bread.
I still get a few things at the dollar store once in a while. Like if I'm there and I'm thinking like, oh, I'd like to have this next week, and I'm already at the dollar store, I'll pick it up there.
Yeah, buy spices there. They don't change much. Salt and pepper is salt and pepper, no matter where the fuck you buy it.
I was actually just at the dollar store yesterday because my wife needed a little roller for painting some furniture, and I almost bought a box of Star Wars cereal because they had boxes of Star Wars cereal there.
I was supposed to say.
There was like one with like not Darth, but Kylo Ren on it, and the other one had BB-8 on it, and I'm like,
Kylo Ren.
I want
Kylo Ren 8.
Darth Kylo Ren 8.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of flea markets because there's always like a weird smell to it.
But you always go with me.
Yeah. I like looking at the stuff. I don't like the people. Yeah. I don't like dealing with the people. I don't like talking to them.
I mean, people are normally dicks. I remember I was 18 when I went to my last flea market.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this knife collection that this guy had, and I don't feel like I was a young looking 18-year-old. Like I had comments that I looked like I was 22 when I was 18, which is fine, right? And so I'm like looking at this knife, I pick it up, I'm like, how much? He's like, I don't sell to 13-year-olds. I'm like, well, fuck you. So I walk away. I'm like, oh, this is weird.
There's some people who you can tell they're just clearing out their house, and then for some reason, I don't know if this holds true to flea markets around the world, but flea markets around here, there's always some guy, and it's never the same guy, weirdly enough, who's like older. He looks like a regular, average somebody's grandpa or whatever. He's got like a big belt buckle, and he's just kind of old, kind of fat, like fupa going on, and there's nothing abnormal about him, and his booth is just bongs and pipes and knives and wallets and just like shit that you would have to like go into a seedy bar to like buy from somebody, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of like weird lighters and
but he's selling that stuff because he knows there's like greasy teenagers that will jump all over that and buy it.
And he's like, oh well, if you don't want any of these knives or switchblades here, I also have ninja stars and flags with marijuana leaves on them if you want it. And it's like, what the fuck? Where did you get all this shit?
They always have ninja swords too.
Yeah. It's weird how much they're appealing to this very, very specific sword collecting stoner.
Yep.
Who's like, yeah, I don't know. I always have a weird time approaching those ones because like I don't like knives and swords. I don't need them.
I like,
but
swords.
Their booths are always set up like the cleanest and like the neatest, and it's always just like, what are you doing, sir? Like,
he knows exactly what he's doing.
He knows exactly. I mean, I've bought the swords and stuff before.
Yeah.
It's nothing major.
And like there's only a very select couple of people who are willing to walk up to this booth in public and buy bongs and stuff. You know what I mean?
True, yeah.
Yeah, I'd never buy a bong, but I'll gladly go up and buy a sword.
Test for someone. Get loose tobacco. So that's step 1. Step 2, buy a bong at a flea market. Step 3, smoke tobacco at a bong.
People always do.
What is it with you and steps?
I mean, yeah.
You're fascinated with steps.
If you're smoking out of a bong in public, usually the police will be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, it's tobacco," and you show them, and they're like, "Okay, whatever." The problem is that some of this stuff can be considered paraphernalia, and they'll take it even if you're not smoking.
Yeah, even if it's just tobacco. Yeah.
No, even if you're not smoking out of it, even if you just have it. So anyway, these people are always sketching me out. I hate people who bring their dogs to the flea market.
They're not supposed
to. Yeah.
The ones that are actually running the booths are allowed to have their pets there with them, but the pet has to stay on their lot while the flea market's actually going on. If you see someone walking around with a dog there,
no, I'm talking about the people who I try to like go up and it's like, I'm gonna look at your stuff, and their dog is being a dick, and it's like, oh, I'm just trying to shop.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Fucking dog.
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of. Like I said, the people at flea markets.
But you have to deal with the people to get their stuff.
I don't want their stuff.
I want their stuff.
Or there's always some guy who's just like, he either looks like he's 18 or 44, and he's selling, 10 million hockey cards.
There's always that one guy, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of like businesses that will go and set up booths there. Like several of the area pawn shops will go and have booths set up there. Mm-hmm. I noticed that there's always guys from like card collecting shops and comic shops that will usually go and set up a booth. And there's one footwear outlet that always has a booth there, and there's always like an entire booth of brand new footwear that's marked down for really cheap. You just never find your size.
Do you ever walk past the table where there's like some pathetic like old lady sitting there, and you look down and you end up accidentally making eye contact with her, and she says hello, and you're like, hey, and then you feel obligated to look at her table of stuff, but like it all sucks and you're not interested in it at all.
It's like just like
and you have to like smile when you're looking at it. And like I remember when I was younger, I felt obligated to like pick something up and go, nice, and like walk away.
Yeah, I can't honestly say I do that. I would be kind and I'd be like, yeah, hey, how you doing? But I'd keep right on walking.
I couldn't do that. I just feel so I feel so bad for somebody who's like nobody's visiting their booth and they find value in their things and like nobody else
No one else does. No.
And they're just like, these are my nice things.
See,
and
the reason why...
I'm so sorry you don't own any nice things.
Yeah, the reason why that doesn't bother me is because I know there's enough people that will be going through that flea market. There will eventually be people that are genuinely interested in her stuff that are going to... No,
I don't think about
there's
stuff like
always
that.
People interested in something.
I don't think about that.
There's
I think about fast forward to when the flea market's over and they're clearing out and she's still sitting there behind her table with all the stuff she showed up with going, but these are my nice things.
Violin music going about.
Yeah. Somebody who just bought a violin at another booth walks up
and there, starts playing their new violin.
I don't know. I almost
start doing the Jurassic Park. You said,
I have Jurassic Park on the brain because the area that we're going to in Punta Cana, in the Dominican, is where the first Jurassic Park film was filmed.
You need to get me a T-Rex while you're there.
I need to get you some dinosaurs. No, so I always feel bad. I remember, do you ever have people who you want to go up and see the stuff that they have, but they're too pushy and you just don't want to deal with them?
I've never really had that issue either.
So my dad and I went to a flea market
which is
once.
strange for me because I hate people.
We went
I guess my frugality of wanting to buy used stuff overcomes my hatred of people.
Oh.
the weird mindset that I have.
My lack of money offsets my anxiety.
Yeah, so the weird mindset that I have when I go to flea markets is I hate coming off as cheap, right? So I'll walk up to a table and I'll think, oh, I want that thing. I wonder what the price is. I wonder if I can get it for a good price. And it's like $20, $30 more than what anyone would realistically pay for it. It's like, okay, and then they try to talk you up, to buy it.
And that's a really nice item. Okay. I hate picking something up just because I know what it is. Usually it's a video game. It's I played it before. I know that it's good. I know that I want it. I pick it up. I look at the price, and then I look at them and go, and then leave. Basically, yeah. I remember we were walking. I went to a flea market with my dad once, and he walked up to this weird booth, and there was a Christmas ornament of a bald guy, and it's just I'm not bald. I'm right. And my dad's bald, so he looked at it and he was like, ha. And he showed me, and I was like, nice. And he puts it back down. He starts to walk away, and she goes, do you want it? Are you interested? And he's just like, ha. And she goes, it's pretty fun. It's only $2. It's only, and we're on the other side of the flea market at this point. And she's going, you still want it? And my dad's like,
so he takes it, and runs.
And he's like, I don't want your tacky ornament. Fucking lay off. I know you're desperate. This was a small
I was gonna say because I've never run into anything like that at the big one down.
So we have one now that's in where Target shut down, and it's
I've never been to that one yet.
Strangely enough, it's fairly big. They only filled about half of it, but they used to have that in a bingo hall across the river, and there would only be 5 tables set up, and we thought it was bigger. We went in, we were like, this is pathetic, and that's where the lady was yelling after him. I was like, no, get out of here.
Oh God,
are you still alive, Dad?
That's
I don't know.
I gotta go to one of these someday.
Lessons learned.
I like my flea markets. I like to buy used stuff.
Lessons learned. Greasy flea markets will get you greasy fleas.
Greasy stuff.
Right. Lessons learned. The Words Are Hard show is the greasy flea market of the YouTube community.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that episode of the Words Are Hard show. Let us know in the comments below what you think of flea markets, and let us know down there what your biggest find was at a flea market if you do go to flea markets. As always, we still have all our social media links down below. We have Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. We're still selling our t-shirts. We still want our face on your chest. If you want to watch one of our previous videos, click on the link over there between Mike and Alex. And if you want to subscribe to our page, click on this one right here between Mike and I. Thanks for watching.